All right, real estate agents are broke and they're quitting the business.
And I know that when you look on TikTok and you look on Instagram and you see all of these agents and you see the lifestyles that they live and you see these beautiful homes that they get to show, it's awesome. But let me tell you something. Real estate is all about aesthetics. Everything that you're seeing is intentional. People are showing you these houses because they know that you want to see them, not because they're selling them. Not because they actually have clients looking at homes of that caliber. You know what I mean? Everything is for aesthetics. But that's not really the point of my story. I wanted to share some of my experience.
She's not wrong about that. Agents will tour a property and they never sold a house that year, and they probably won't, but they will do a bunch of tours and pop up and give you calls. Hey, can I preview the property? They'll do the videos, but they won't sell
Experiences within my first, I guess, 2 years of my career, just so that people who were in my shoes can have a clear understanding and a clear depiction of what they're getting themselves into. Obviously, it's going to be different for every person. I don't have the same personality as a lot of people do. Maybe I'm not as likable. Maybe I'm intimidating. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm the opposite. I don't know. But let's get into it. So when I first got into real estate, I started at a really big brand name brokerage. And so I think that was one of the best things I could have done for myself early on in my career, because one thing that they really stressed at that brokerage was compliance, doing things by the book, training, all of the foundational things that you're going to need as an agent. I was also surrounded by a lot of successful people who ultimately pushed me and put me in positions to be successful. But there's also a caveat with that, because those successful people don't really have time to mentor little unseasoned agents and help them with their business, which is not their responsibility. So I did have to outsource my own mentorship. But a lot of times what people don't tell you is that it takes time. You're not going to be selling $1, $2, $3 million homes in your first year in real estate. It's just not.
And it takes money too. It takes money. It takes time and it takes money. And a lot of people don't have that amount of run capital for a run rate investment for a run rate. They think it's like going and buying a car or becoming a car salesman, a car sales guy. They think it's like that. But the amount of stuff that you pay for as a broker, as an agent, insane. Insane. So when people come to the business and they've never sold before, they have no idea what selling looks like. They don't know how to prospect. They never approached and actually spoke to someone face to face, eyeball to eyeball, kneecap to kneecap. That scares a lot of people. A lot of people are scared of talking to other people. And for that reason, they can do all the book work, but they can't turn around and sell. And that's a different skill set. Learning the information is different than learning how to sell, because most of the time the information you get as a realtor, getting your license, has nothing to do with selling, even though they call it a salesperson license. It's crazy.
Going to happen unless you just know a lot of millionaires, you know what I mean? And they just so happen to want to buy houses. It's probably not going to happen. You have to build your portfolio. You have to build your clientele, and that takes time. I didn't get my first sale into probably almost a year into the business. I was doing a lot of leasing. Let's not say your girl just wasn't doing nothing, because I was doing a lot of leasing. I was doing a lot of apartments. I leased out a lot of apartments within my first year. And so that's how I was making money. But I think things started going downhill when I decided to join a team. One thing that I have learned about myself is I am a solo agent. I'm a team player. Don't get me wrong. I'm a team player. But
See, in corporate America, teams are necessary when you do sales. You're part of always a sales team. I was in corporate America. I was on a sales team, very Fortune 500 company. It was a Fortune 500 company. I was on a sales team and later became a sales director or a regional sales manager. Or they gave me my own team full of salespeople, all that stuff, whatever you want to call those fancy titles. But you still have to be part of a team. And a lot of people get in, they're not team people. They just want the bread to check, and that's it. So it becomes a culture shock when you realize, I got to play nice and work with other people. And that's where the money is. Yeah, the money's on teams do have money. Okay. Team leaders don't.
Comes to being an agent, I always have viewed being a realtor or being a real estate agent as an entrepreneurial experience. And that was taken away from me, or it gets taken away from you depending on what team you're on. You know, obviously being the only person of color or black person on your team is not the most ideal situation, because a lot
I'm gonna let her finish, then I'm gonna hit the break one more time.
of things can be attributed to your race when things don't go right. And I'm not saying that that's what happened, but you never know how someone is thinking. You know what I mean?
I personally believe if you're the one black person on an all-white team or all Oriental team, or a team that says Orientals and whites, and you're the only black person, shoot, the money's gonna be made depending on the city you live in too. But even if you don't live in that city or you don't live in that area, the money's gonna be made by you. I don't know, and I keep telling these people I made the most amount of money when I lived in Florida. Well, I make money now, but I made more there. I think it's the taxes too. But people were just willing to buy. Oh, never seen that black guy down there by himself. There's only one of them. Let me talk to him. Then we get to talking. Some really good people. Really good people. You can't assume, because you make an ass out of you, not me.
And so, like I said, things kind of started going downhill when I joined the team. The first situation was, it was a young lady who swore up and down she was my friend. We used to hang out. We used to go to lunch. We used to do things together. But I guess she just stopped liking me. I don't know when the shift occurred. I don't know what happened. But it was a 180. And she just hated me from that point. Maybe it's because it turned into a competition. I don't really know. I don't really want to get into the semantics. But that's when I started noticing that maybe
There's no friends in real estate. I get people like to be buddy and share leads and talk about stuff. Typically, there's no friends in real estate, especially if you're trying to fly high and the people next to you are like, they just cool with their little bit. There's no friends in it. They will steal business from you. They will not tell you about deals. They will tell on you and report on you. They will smile in your face. And depending on the realtor, it's not like that for all agents. I'm not going to say that. But damn, if I'm making checks and you not making checks, or if I made a check and you ain't seen a check in a couple of months, it gets a little funny right there.
For me, it's a lot of drama and a lot of tension surrounding this team dynamic, and I'm not that kind of person. Then the craziest thing happened after that. I was dealing with, and this is another instance on how people in real estate are very cutthroat. My second situation, and like this is when everything was kind of just all at once.
I ain't even listened to this whole thing through and checked it. I stopped probably the first 2 minutes, minute and a half of this video, and said I'm gonna do a reaction to it. Look what she said, cutthroat. I told you.
Under contract on a house with my client, and we were dealing with this agent, and look, I'm not gonna sit up here and act like I did everything right, because I didn't. You know, I was a brand new agent, and again, I didn't really have a lot of mentorship. You know, my team leads, they were not very educated when it came to real estate. I mean, if you're gonna lead a team, you need to know every aspect of what's happening over here, this law, that law, earn this money, this. I mean, I couldn't ask them anything. They didn't know shit. And so I had got into a situation where I had an earnest money dispute because there were a lot of things being said over the phone or things being said over email from the other agent that she wasn't putting in writing, and she was being very deceptive. And as an unseasoned brand new agent, you don't know how, like, if you can trust people. You also can't make people sign documents, right? People will wait out your contingency and not.
So, okay. So what she's saying is the earnest money got into a dispute. This is when one party says they get the earnest money because the terms wasn't met. Then the other party says, no, we keep the earnest money. We did meet the terms. If it's not written on paper, in an email, with a date and a time, some type of communication outside of, hey, yeah, I'll do it. This is why this is the major issue that happens to agents. I know an agent who left her license, quit her license, said, whatever, man, I'm not even dealing with this anymore. quit her license and left and went to another part of the business. So many different things you can do in real estate. You don't have to have a license to make a ton of money. But she left. She said, I'm done with that. I'm not even messing with it. You know, because of an earnest money dispute. Yeah. People get the fighting when they get upset and they believe they're supposed to get it. They do more of that fighting in real estate than anything else. Trust me.
Sign an extension just to get your earnest money. And this probably all sounds like blibber blabber. You probably don't even know what I'm talking about. Long story short, we were under contract and financing was falling through because our lender was kind of incompetent. And, you know, it wasn't my fault that the lender kept telling us information that wasn't true. The loan kept falling through. I had to communicate to the agent, but she's not hearing it. I don't expect her to I don't expect her to be okay with that. You know what I mean? We were supposed to have our shit together, but I only know what the lender's telling me. So I say all that to say they ended up taking the earnest money because she had said, okay, we'll sign this. She never signed it. Cool. So that was a very hard experience to deal with, especially when, again, I had no guidance from my team leads. They were not helping me at all. They left it all on me. This was my first residential transaction.
And this, girl, you giving me too much to work with on this. This is the thing about the business that I be telling people. You're a salesperson. You're only as good as your last sale. And if you're not closing any deals, nobody's going to really spend too much time with you, especially if they felt like they taught you or gave you everything that you need, being lead, CRM, and a script on how to do it. Yes, that's all they believe you should have to be able to close deals. If you can't close a deal with that, then they don't care. And to even take it deeper, it's psychological, because brokers know they got to carry the cost. They really don't want to support agents that just don't do anything but just make their monthly payment. That's it. If they just make their monthly payment and keeping their license active, agents think, oh, that's great. That's all I got to do. Brokers are like, nah. Listen, it's cutthroat. It's about the bag. If you ain't got the bag, nobody want to talk about it.
And for me to have to deal with all of this, I felt like it was crazy, because they were taking 40% of my money. And that's when I was like, okay, if you're not even going to communicate with me about my deal, then you cannot take 40% of my money. I didn't even say that. I just asked the team leads, can we please work on our communication? Because there's no reason that I should be having a freaking panic attack over earnest money while you're playing pickleball with your girlfriend. So I guess he didn't like that. And I said it the most respectful way, and he booted me off the team. Right? Okay. I was hurt. I was like, oh, me? You know, and it is what it is, right?
They'll fire you in a heartbeat or let you go. But why? Why should you? It's not like a corporate environment where you got to deal with the person and tell. It's not no right to work. You are 1099. 1099.
Oh, no.
1099. You can come and go as you please, honestly.
But I say all that to say, don't let situations like that deter you from following your dreams. Yeah. Only because less than 6 months later, I went under contract on $1 million home, my first $1 million home. And had I gone under contract on that home while I was still on that team, I would have had to pay them 50%.
Ooh, look at God. Look at God. The good Lord is strikes again. That is, look, it happens. That what she just said right there, I've seen it happen. It's happened to me. You leave a team or you leave a brokerage, and then all of a sudden, boom. So to me, I tell people, doesn't that mean that we shouldn't have been there? Yeah, you may have gotten stuff from there. It may have been a detour, but let's go a little bit deeper, my sister. Let's talk. Okay. At the end of the day, sometimes when you step away from those type of situations, places you put yourself in, thinking that I got to be here to do this, and if I don't do it, then I can't make the money, and the team is where the action's at. And then you step away and you get the bread, and you realize, dude, I was just forcing it the whole time. A lot of times that happens in real estate. That's why I even tell my clients, chill. Sometimes you're going to walk into stuff that you never intended to walk into, good stuff. Then sometimes you're going to walk out of stuff that you didn't even know you didn't need to be in, the bad stuff. But it happens. It happens more often not just in real estate, just in life. It's like breaking up with that person, and then all of a sudden, it's like, damn, I get this job. Oh, damn, I got this money coming. Oh, damn, that person wasn't supposed to be there. Some places you're not supposed to be. Oh, no. I'm just telling you.
My new brokerage, my split is 100%. Ooh. I only have to pay them a couple $1,000s after this transaction, and then I have 100%. So, where I would have been taking home maybe 15, probably closer to 13. Now I'm taking home a full almost 30K.
Ooh.
So, again, don't let negativity, negative people, and missed opportunities detour you. Don't let small situations stress you out, because things will always work out in the end. They always work out. Might you be broke for a couple months? Yes. I haven't been paid since February. I haven't gotten a check since February. And that's partly due to my own stress, my own anxiety, my own I guess lack of willingness to get up out the bed sometimes and work.
Yeah, that'll do it for you. Because all you're thinking about is making that check and closing that next deal. And when it's not moving at the pace you needed to meet those other things you need to meet, you feel broke, busted, disgusted. You feel like, and then you get low. Key point. And if you're still watching this video to the end, this is the key point. Let me tell you something. You don't get the money to feel good and get your mind right. You get your mind right to feel good before, and then the money comes. That's just my take on it right there. That's just my take on it. Hey, man, like, subscribe, follow for more content. When I saw her and I listened to the first minute and a half, I knew I wanted to do a reaction on it, because this is a perfect lesson on how people get into the business and they don't quite understand it. But if they stick with it, okay, things happen. Good things can happen. Good things can happen. I see you guys on the next video.